Almost 6 weeks ago, I spoke to two accounting professors as they embarked on the 1,100-kilometer paddle down a tributary of the Amazon in a bid to create awareness on climate change. Well, they went, they paddled, and are here to tell the story in studio. Well, this is Wayne. Wayne, welcome back. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Well, thanks very much for having us back.
Yeah, and coming to us via our Zoom link is Professor Kurt. Kurt, thanks so much for being a part of our conversation today.
It's a great pleasure, Hugo.
Great, man. So, well, welcome back to the bright lights and the daily traffic. Talk to us about the Amazon, Wayne. I'm sure for your first experience, was it what you expected?
It wasn't, and I suppose in general, just a lot of it is particularly unpleasant. It's too hot, it's too humid, it's too much paddling, too many things biting you all the time. So from that experience, it was definitely a rude awakening. And also, they've got these mining dredges that sit there soaking up the bottom of the river to try and get gold. And I mean, it looks like something out of Mad Max and quite daunting when you sort of paddling past these guys with the thrum of the engine. So definitely some new experiences that I didn't think I'd get, but I'm glad I'm home.
Do you think you're prepared enough for it?
I don't think there was anything else you could have really done to prepare better for it. I think it's one of those things you've got to get there and you just got to do it. So I don't think there's anything more we could have done to prepare, no.
Now, Kurt, it was a second dance for you with the Amazon, albeit at 73 years of age. You were 23 when you first went. Was there a difference? How did you cope this time around?
Well, it was surprisingly the same, I must be honest, and that is that it was very difficult, sort of to go from a soft service street life and suddenly to be plunged into that type of physical environment with the heat and the insects and having to paddle 8 hours a day is never pleasant. So it wasn't pleasant this time, and of course at 73 going on 74, you're not exactly getting more flexible, and I had to make a conscious effort, just to try and sort of fit in and be operational. But look, I was delighted, I must say, with the outcome. I was delighted that I actually managed to do this trip. And I think I really was surprised that the team we had, my son Ben and Wayne and that Brazilian chap, amazingly, we all got on very well. I'm sure some of us got irritated at times, but it was really a good effort, I must say. So, yeah, in retrospect, I've already started to forget some of the things. I'm kind of sometimes thinking it was pleasant, which I didn't think a week ago.
Well, something that you probably would not have forgotten is one of your primary objectives, and that was to spark long-term climate change project for Accountancy SA. Do you think that spark has ignited?
I don't know. The climate change debate is locked in sort of cynicism, and it's locked in the fact that it's sort of always someone else's problem. So the climate change debate is still in the summit stage, conferences, declaration, and I think it's going to take like a sustained effort by millions of different bodies and institutions to change the status quo. I think at least we've started in South Africa, and, we've started with the backing of obviously our own university and the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants. But I must say that the people that were in South Africa doing the fundraising for us have had a damn difficult time trying to persuade corporate South Africa that they should sort of get actively involved in climate change initiatives. But, we're strong and we're going to carry on fighting. So, look, the war's just started, and I'm I'm optimistic.
Well, I'm sure, Wayne, you're optimistic too. But talk to us now that you've paddled the 1,100 kilometres, you've created the awareness, you're back in the country. What are the next steps?
So I think the next steps are trying to build on the momentum, and it's interesting, a lot more media have been reaching out now, and they're interested to get their hands on some footage and stuff. So I'm hoping that momentum will help us reach the wider audience that we want and get the awareness out, and then also the funding, because that is quite a critical component as well. As we need the money to do the research and for the reforestation project.
Final question. I would have liked to ask 2 questions, but I'm going to ask you 2. You can answer the one you prefer. Now, one imagines that the Amazon represents unspoilt wilderness. Is it unspoilt wilderness? And if you choose to answer the second question, you're looking to rehabilitate forests in the Amazon. Are there no forests in South Africa on the continent that you'd rather rehabilitate than go out all the way to the Amazon?
So I think I'll start with the first one. So one thing that's really surprising about the area is there's almost no litter. So from that perspective, everything is quite pristine, and the bush you can see, or the forest you can see, quite thick on the edges, because it's not sort of worthwhile cutting right up until those areas. But because of the illegal mining and all of that, there's a lot of really, really bad chemicals, mercury, I think it's sodium cyanide, that are quite literally just being pumped in. And in areas, you can see this frothy, orange sort of film on top of the river that definitely doesn't look pleasant. And at one stage, I saw a fish upside down in sort of its death throes there. So there's areas of it that are pristine and are quite well, but then there's other aspects, and I think the illegal mining and the gold dredging is a particular issue going along the Rio Madeira. At one stage, it looked like the Rio gold mining area as opposed to the Rio Madeira.
Wayne, appreciate your time. So that was Professors Kurt Sartorius and Wayne van Zyl in the studio with us, talking to us about that expedition on the Rio Madeira, tributary of the Amazon, where they paddled 1,100 kilometres.